MJ from the Kubz. Welcome back to another episode of reacting to these scary animations. I got 3 good ones for you all in today's episode. If you guys cool with that, you down with that? Everybody get ready and buckle up, because there we go! First video of today's episode comes from the legendary Meat Canyon. This one is called BLOO CLOO, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I used to be embarrassed about admitting that I watched this show. Actually, I never admitted it. Every time I would get home from school, I would throw this on. I would throw on Sesame Street. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I'd be watching it, and I'd be like, wow, this is actually a really interesting and cool show. But yeah, now that I'm older, I can admit that BLOO CLOO was a very interesting show. It was entertaining, and it was just fun. It was just good, genuine fun. And let's see how Meat Canyon is gonna mess up another one of my childhood shows.
Am I done for the day, Blue? I don't think I can do another clue today.
There's always clues, Steve! Isn't that so exciting?
Oh, fuck me. What did I expect? What did I really expect?
I need a break.
Stop licking my face! Give your dog what he wants. Be proud of your dog. It's your dog, after all.
I feel so bad for Blue.
Hey, Steve. Blue's trying to show you a clue. Steve! You gotta take these letters out of me, man. Hey, Steve. Steve, Blue's trying to show you something. Hey, you been ordering a lot of Prime, Steve? Steve, looks like Blue's trying to show you a clue. I'm stuffed to the brim, pal. It's a clue, Steve. Steve, look, it's a clue.
Just pull one out, buddy. Just pull one out.
Just pull one out of me, bro. Let me feel something one time. Fuck, I forgot all these characters. I forgot the mailbox. I forgot the drawer with the notebook in it. What the
Steve, did you see the Blue's Clues left for you? How exciting!
I don't. Oh, God, I don't.
Stinky time, Steve.
No,
Stinky time!
How does Meat Canyon think of these things? This shit is just genius. It's so crazy that it's genius. God.
Steve, look! It's more clues, Steve! Steve, look! Steve! Steve, look! It's more clues, Steve! Oh, fuck. The mailman's coming, Steve. Oh, look at all these clues. Clues, Steve! They're clues!
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Why don't you all just shut the fuck up?
Imagine in the actual show, he just drops that line.
Up!
Like the mailbox is like, I'm the mail, I'm the mail, I'm the mail. Shut the fuck up! Wait a minute, that wasn't even a Blue's Clues song. It was mail time, mail time, mail time. Where the fuck did I get the I'm the mail, I'm the mail, I'm the mail? Is that Dora the Explorer?
I'm the map, 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 I'm the...
Why don't you all just shut the fuck up? I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to solve these stupid fucking clues.
That's what I said when I turned 12.
I don't want to look at your face. Your blue hair, your beady gross eyes. You disgust me. You've lost all resemblance to the dog that I knew.
I feel bad for Blue.
I can't remember the last time I looked at you with any kind of happiness. I hate you, Blue. I really do.
Steve!
It's actually very sad.
Some clues? Yeah, you want me to solve clues? Fine! Yeah, I'll solve clues too! Here, fine, how about you
Oh,
take this?
fuck!
Take it, you butt! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!
Oh shit.
Blue?
No! That's a fucking real dog!
No, Blue, please, no.
Give your dog what he wants.
Oh
Proud
my
of your dog.
god!
Trust me, you'll be
Please
glad you
don't
did.
leave me, Blue.
Dog!
Please don't leave me.
Oh, that is fucking sad. That is the saddest ending I have ever seen. Like, I'm about to send my shooters and Ubers, bro. On Steve's forehead. Wow. Damn, that's actually the saddest ending. That is actually the saddest shit. What the fuck? That didn't even ruin my childhood. That just ruined my night. That just ruined my whole night. Look at this. Oh, that's the saddest shit ever. Oh my god. That dog is gone like the top of Steve's hair. Next video of today's episode comes from my guy Mort. It's another OnlyFans horror story, and I know you all love those OnlyFans horror stories. So let's see what this one's about.
And to me, bartending is about so much more than just serving drinks. It's about community. So you can only imagine how heartbroken I was when the pandemic hit and we were basically forced to just close our doors indefinitely. I tried to find other sources of income. I even tried running a cocktail delivery service for a while. I did okay, but just not nearly enough to live comfortably. I was looking at having to sell my car, pawn a guitar or two, but the final straw came when it looked like I might have to put my dog up for adoption.
Aww, another dog story? Yo, what's going on with today?
I can put up with a lot of nonsense, man, but the idea of having to take Ripper to the pound, never. I just couldn't.
That's an alpha name.
That's when I
too,
got
Ripper.
desperate. Desperate enough to consider something pretty drastic. To make it clear, I'm a guy in my late 20s, not completely awful looking, but definitely not Brad Pitt. So I'm sure it'll come
Not
as no
completely
surprise to
butt-ass
many of you
ugly,
when I
but
say
I
that my
ain't cute
financial
either.
salvation came when I started yep, you sure could guess it.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do. We gotta eat, you know? Crumbs, whole loaves of bread, the whole shebang bang. Like,
An
whatever you
OnlyFans
gotta do.
account. It all
OnlyFans,
started
eat.
when I heard two of my friends talking
I might
about
need to start an
dad
OnlyFans.
bods.
Shit.
Dad bods, I
I have to
remember
throw in a couple
saying.
nipples.
You'd for real prefer a beer gut to a six-pack? Okay, not like a beer gut, she said with a giggle. But like, I don't know, like the slightly out-of-shape look, it just feels real, and besides, gym rats just don't seem fun, you know? Dad bods are like, chill.
Hey, I'm gonna let you all know right now. I got the daddest of bods, so if you want me to start that OnlyFans, you feel me?
That was probably some bad
I'm
phrasing
kidding,
on my
everybody,
part,
relax.
but you get the picture. The whole dad bod thing had been around for a while. But when I told the girl she must have something of a niche interest, she just laughed. Nope, it's way more popular than you think. And she brings up this OnlyFans profile of some Nick Offerman looking dude who had like a ton of posts up, all with a buttload of likes and comments.
How is this gonna
This
get
guy
scary?
makes thousands of dollars a month. His profile is free to sub too, but he does a bunch of request stuff too. Watch. I'm like, no. Thinking she's about to show me this guy's junk or whatever, but no.
Who looks at their
Apparently
phone
the
like
guy
that?
did like
Like, they just in the bed looking at their phone like, what are you on right now?
tuck you in
What are
videos
you
or
on?
good morning, sweetie videos where he pretends to wake up
Can you
next
stop
to
biting
you before
that
offering
lip?
you breakfast and stuff.
What is this?
It was the tamest adult content imaginable.
Bro, I'm gonna start biting my
Legitimately
lip until he stops
PG-13
biting his
stuff, and he was charging upwards of $50 for a personalized video.
$50?
The whole rest of my shift, I kept thinking about
Bro, I'm
that
charging
guy,
50 to buy my lip.
thinking how happy he must be to get all this money, and his
This
following
motherfucker
was so
talking and then going
wholesome,
back to
too.
biting his bottom
What's
lip.
not to like about a setup like that?
What are you on right now?
Sure, I bet there was some steamier stuff behind a paywall somewhere, but come on. A few $1,000 a month just to tell
Puerto
some girl
Rico?
to sleep well?
It's Puerto Ricans
Why
hit
couldn't
different.
I get a piece of that sweet, sweet
I said Puerto
OnlyFans money?
Ricans.
But no.
I'm out here
not
making
that
words.
guy,
Puerto
or
Ricans.
At least I wasn't. I had all the confidence of a 2-day-old fawn back then, but then again, I suppose desperation drives us to do stuff out of the ordinary. It was pretty surreal setting up the account. Like I had to come up with a fake name and an attractive username, I had to take a display picture selfie and banner picture. It was a whole thing. I was doubting myself the entire time, but I still went and did it, and since all the pictures were as anonymous as I could make them...
Goody Jackie? That name's so bad I won't even wish that shit on my worst enemy.
Those masks helped to protect more than just my breathing, I suppose. I wasn't all that concerned about getting found out. Besides, that would pretty much be the end of the whole thing. It wasn't like I was going to actually get any followers or anything, right?
Oh, whoa.
Right?
Yeah, you got one?
Well, wrong. Because maybe 3 days after, just when I was starting to forget about the whole thing, I get an email notification from OnlyFans that says, like, user 7876 is now following you, just to be as generic as possible. I'd set up my sub fee to $4.99. Then when
How you gonna say you got no followers, you almost forgot about it, but got like 2,000 DMs and almost 600 notifications? I don't even get that
checked
shit.
the payout section, boom.
Bro, I can
Like
take a picture of my
$4 was
balls
headed
right
into
now.
my
I
bank
swear to
account at the
God,
end of
I
the
am not
month
getting
as
that
an
many
upfront charge.
notifications.
I also had a direct message that just read, "Loving your pictures. Can't wait to see more. X." I couldn't tell who the person was. There was no bio on their account, nothing to even clue me into if they were male or female, but still, I just reply, "Thank you so much. If you know anyone who might enjoy my content, please share my profile with them." I get a "will do" in return. Then that's that.
Is my guy down so bad money-wise that he had to sell 3/4 of his tie? Like, what's going on right
A few
there?
days later, I get another sub, then another, and by the end of the week, I have a grand total of 10. Loyal but totally anonymous subscribers. The extra $40 a month was paying for most of Ripper's dog food by that point.
Yo,
Not the
all my homies love Ripper.
good stuff, but I didn't have to consider giving him up anymore. And that
All my
meant you
homies
can
love
bet your
Ripper.
butt I carried on posting. If the only way was up, then up I was going. By the end of my 6th week of OnlyFans, I had just short of 50 followers and was making just under $200 a month.
That's
And I
not
put that
that
down
bad, bro.
to
That's
solely me opening myself up to special requests.
that's
A lot of them came in the form of daddy stuff, which is
That's-
undeniably kinky, but still mostly just sweet and affectionate.
uh,
I didn't have a problem with it at all, and once I gotten a little confidence under my belt, I'd go so far as to say that I got pretty good at it.
I'm not even gonna.
But as it turned out, the real money was in a kind of domination that was considerably less wholesome. Some people didn't want me to just be nice to them. They wanted me to be really, really mean. I remember the first time I started to feel really disillusioned with the whole thing. One
People
special
really do like
request
that
wanted me
stuff?
to make a video where I basically just downright was
Somebody called me a
abusive.
bitch to my face,
Then when I
bro.
read that they wanted me to call them all kinds
I'm
of
putting pause
slurs,
up.
I just felt gross. It was the first time I'd had actual confirmation that some of my subscribers were gay guys, but that wasn't really it. It was the
More
things
really
they
makes
wanted me to
everybody
call
look like
them.
a sick freak.
They're what made me feel deeply uncomfortable. I replied to the DM saying, "Sorry, I can't do that. Is there anything else I can work in for you?" But no.
Yeah, if somebody asked me to do that, like, say somebody emailed me and was like, "Hey, dude, could you please call me a bitch to my face? I beg you, dude. I want you to just be nasty to me and just say all these things to me." But like, what do you want,
The
bro?
reply was almost
What do you
instant.
want?
It consisted of them just doubling the dollar amount they were offering. The first time they did that, I
That's the
actually
kind of
got a
face I
little
would make. So I'm
offended.
like, what do you
But they also
want?
think that I just
Ooh!
paid because they flashed some cash. It was about principle, not
Yeah,
making
money
money.
isn't everything.
So you can guess how straight up
Only
gross
thing.
I felt when they threw
Just
a
kidding.
4-figure amount
Right.
at me. And I feel gross just typing this, but yeah, I accept it.
He's like, "No, dude, I have morals. I have principles. I'll slide you 1,200. All right, cool. Give me 30 seconds. Telling you, money talks. Speaks
I
that
called them
universal
some of the
language.
most
What the?
despicable things
What
that have
the?
ever come out of my
Yo,
mouth.
can you come
And
more?
I did
More,
a
what
pretty
does you
good
want
job of it,
to?
I wanted that money.
This guy's aggressive
And
for
it's honestly shameful
$1,200.
how quickly I abandoned my principles.
Imagine $2,000?
I
Scared of
felt
what he'd
bad.
do.
Really bad for like a few days, but when another offer came in from a different user asking the same thing for the same price, I just couldn't say no.
You can't.
The bar wasn't even paying us any
It
sort
gets
of
addicting.
unemployment anymore. We were like 3 months into lockdown and the money just sort of dried up.
Yeah, that's
So
horrible.
by then,
the whole COVID
whether I liked
situation
it or
and
not,
people working.
I was almost entirely dependent on OnlyFans for my income.
Now it's hard to get
And when the
people to
requests
work
got
now.
worse,
Now that things
I
are
had
opening up.
little choice but to fulfill them. Looking back, I shouldn't have let it escalate. I could have kept things at the level they were at and still lived pretty comfortably until the New York City bar scene opened up again. But no.
What is
My
that?
greed took over, and at one point,
What are you gonna do with that?
I bought an entire pack of wet Italian sausage, just so
Oh.
a guy could imagine what his junk would look like after I stamped on it in steel-toed work boots.
That dude more hung than an
I
Italian
thought this was
sausage?
as bad as things would get.
An Italian sausage?
I was wrong.
Bro, I'm like
The
a
red line
Vienna.
event for me
But
was
goddamn, an
getting
Italian?
a follower from another user 827484 style account.
I'm a
The
Vienna
anonymous
sausage on a
kind you
good
always
day,
get the
bro.
weirdest DMs or requests from. The guy threw an obscene dollar amount at me, but also mentioned that some of that money was for procuring materials, as
What
he
does
put
that
it.
mean?
Long story short, this person wanted me to head down to an apartment building where a Hispanic lady was selling puppies.
Oh, Ripper,
I was to
he's
go
so
down
cute.
there, pick one up, then bring it back to my apartment.
Bro, now I know that Mort has never had a dog in his entire life. You don't grab the dog ass facing you. Come on, who grabs a dog like that?
I asked why, but they wouldn't tell me.
Grabbing
They just gave
Ripper
me some
like that,
spiel
like he's
about
a
being
handbag?
genuine and being a huge source of potential income in the future. But this was a puppy. Nothing good could have come out of mixing OnlyFans and baby animals.
Yeah.
And what do you
What are
know?
you doing, bro?
I was right. I won't go into too much detail about what this user wanted me to do, but it was some of the most evil, heinous stuff I'd ever heard.
It's got to be Steve from
They
Blue's
wanted me
Clues.
to hurt the puppy. Not just kill it,
He's just a straight up puppy killer.
hurt it. Over the course of days, maybe even weeks from some of the stuff that they were DMing me.
What the f-
When I outright denied their request, the
Straight up
threats began.
serial killer vibes.
Whenever I blocked an account, another one would pop up and pay the sub fee, knowing it would be returned when I inevitably blocked them.
Bro, that shit just pisses
By
me
the
off.
time I started getting scared that this person or group of people I could never tell would get a hold of my contact details, I had to be brave enough to just click that little delete profile
Got to. Like I
button
said, money isn't everything.
and face the music. So, I'm currently living with my mom and her boyfriend out here in New Jersey. I can't
Hey.
actually describe how much it sucks to be living in a garage with my 30th birthday fast approaching, but I also know my life could be so much worse. Every time I miss Williamsburg,
What the man?
every time I miss having my
I don't wanna
bank
see this
account
dude's face
being
again.
padded for next to no work at all, I just look over at Ripper, give him a pat, and think,
I love Ripper.
yeah,
All my homies
COVID
love
has
Ripper.
sucked. It's ruined a lot of lives, including mine. But at least, I have my pupper.
It got to. At the end of the day, you could be broke as shit, but as long as you got the pupper, taking dubs. It's the only dub you need. Last video of today's episode comes from IMR Scary Tales. It is a honeymoon horror story. I've never reacted to a honeymoon horror story before, so let's see what happens.
My wife and I went to Japan for our honeymoon.
Hey.
I'd studied there for a while during college, so I knew the language pretty well, and we were financially stable enough to afford it. We had planned on exploring all of Tokyo. Being one of the largest and densely populated cities on the planet, it was almost like a world of its own.
I need to go back
A
to
country
Tokyo.
within a country with diverse
I gotta
districts
go back.
that might as well have been their own towns. For the first 4 days, we visited almost every part of the city, from the anime and manga shops of Akihabara to the trendy department stores of Shibuya, to some downright bizarre-themed cafes in Harajuku.
That's so cool.
But after spending so much time at the crowded city, we decided that we needed a little change of scenery. There were a bunch of parks in Tokyo, but they were all crowded by people who had the same idea. We wanted to take a proper hike in a forest to clear our minds after all the excitement in the city, and the closest national forest was Aokigahara, a place most famous for people going there to commit suicide.
Oh shit, they went to
Needless
that
to
forest?
say, we decided to go somewhere else. But with
I
the
was
way
gonna say, what kind
things
of
turned
shit
out,
you on, going to
it
that
would have been
forest?
safer if we
On a
had
honeymoon?
went to the suicide forest instead. On the 5th day of our honeymoon, we took a train ride to Kyoto, a city famous for its adherence to ancient Japanese culture, in contrast to the modern metropolis that was Tokyo. We found a mountainous forest with a hiking trail in the rural area and set out to appreciate the natural beauty of Japan. The rough path took us up the mountains. Flanking us on either side were towering green bamboo trees that made the vibrant purple and pink of the occasional wildflower, or sakura blossom, all the more striking. We walked the path until late in the afternoon, at which point we decided it was time to call it a day. But on the way back, something among the bamboo caught our attention. A fox was watching us from the bamboo forest with blue eyes that almost looked like they were glowing in the shade.
Oh, wow.
This wasn't the typical red fox you could find all over Japan. Its fur was smooth and a shade of shiny silver I'd never seen on any animal before. Naturally, we both took out our phones to take a picture of the anomaly of nature. The moment we did, it darted back into the bamboo forest.
I really like
We
this
knew
narrator.
it was a bad idea, but the color of the fox was so beautiful that we couldn't help but try to follow it for a picture to show off to our friends back home. The fox was fast, but not so much that we ever lost sight of it. We were able to glimpse the back of its unusually big bushy tail
Leave him
as
alone.
it scurried in front of us,
That's his
gracefully
home.
darting in between the bamboo trees
invading
as
his
we
home.
clumsily tried to keep up.
That's like somebody opening the door to their house and just putting a camera in their face and following them throughout the whole house. Like, get the fuck out my
We
face!
arrived in a clearing of the forest where a traditional Japanese cottage sat next to a
wrong
waterfall
with these people? That's
that
his
led
home.
down to a flowing river. We didn't even question why it was there or who would be living there. We were just relieved that we found some semblance of civilization after almost becoming a statistic.
That wife looks like a
I knocked
ghost.
on the wooden pillar next to the rice paper door and shouted out a greeting in Japanese. Almost immediately,
Konbanwa.
the door slid open and I was met with the second most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life,
Bro, you just got married. Already talking about the second most beautiful woman?
next only to my own wife.
Oh, God, this dude cornier than After School Special.
She was a fair-skinned Asian woman with coffee-brown, almond-shaped eyes and a flawless, delicate face
She's
that
alright.
most women could only achieve through Photoshop. She wore a fine silver kimono, fitting for our equally traditional house, and greeted us with a small bow. "Good evening," she said in Japanese. "How may I help you?" Her Japanese was fluent, but I could tell that there was a bit of an accent to it. It wasn't any regional accent I knew. If I had to guess, she kind of sounded like a Korean person trying to speak Japanese. "We got lost in the forest," I replied in my own heavily accented Japanese. "Can you please help us?" She gave me a smile that made my heart flutter against my will.
This dude just got married, and he got butterflies from another woman. She ain't
Certainly.
it, bro.
However, it is getting dark and the forest is dangerous at night. Would you care to stay the night here until tomorrow instead? I can lead you out of the forest then. I translated the conversation to my wife and we agreed to stay.
The wife's
over.
already mad.
She introduced
She had
herself
attitude.
as Hana and even offered to serve us food.
What is
I
that?
tried to decline, but
Eggs with rice?
she insisted.
Yummy.
And both my wife and I were hungry from our hike anyways. The food was some sort of meat with rice, accompanied by clay cups of green tea. Though we tried to mind our manners, we ended up scarfing the whole thing down in minutes. It was one of the most
Bitches.
delicious meals I'd ever had in my life. She then led us to a small guest room and laid out 2 small futons for us to sleep on.
That means let's
My
eat,
wife
I
fell
hope.
asleep almost right away,
Itadakimasu?
but I couldn't for some reason.
Itadakimasu?
It was odd, since she was usually the light sleeper, and I've literally slept through storms before. I
you
felt
think
an
you're cool?
inexplicable urge to get out for some fresh air, so I did. I quietly exited the guest room. To my surprise, Hannah was still awake in the living room. More of the
Still
same
eating?
food she'd served us from before
Damn,
was
girl,
still on the
go to
low
sleep.
dining table, and she was in the middle of eating it. I hastily apologized for the intrusion in stuttering Japanese. She told me that it was all right in the same soft, polite tone she kept since we met. When she told me to sit down so that she could pour me some tea, I saw no reason to decline. I won't go into detail about what we talked about. Long
Why?
story short, she tried to seduce me as my newlywed wife was
Hey.
sleeping right in the other room. My hormones screamed at me to take her up on her offer, and I felt my body burning with an almost supernatural compulsion to take her then and there.
Did this man
However,
take his ring
it was
off
all
as they
drowned
slept?
out by sheer disgust at the thought of cheating on my wife. I declined her offer to sleep with me in no uncertain terms. She didn't seem angry about it. Instead, a look of surprise spread across her face. "Do you really love her that much?" she asked me. "Of course I do," I replied. "I wouldn't have married her otherwise." There was a tense moment of silence between us. In that time, her surprised expression turned to a look of sorrow. I almost felt bad about making her like that, but nothing was going to make me betray the trust of the woman I loved. "I really do like you," Hannah said before standing up,
You knew each other for 3 minutes. I've took longer shits than you've known this guy.
"which is why I have to ask you to leave." "What?" I asked, surprised. "Right now?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Just follow the river downwards and you'll find a small town there. Don't worry, no harm will come to you, and the moon is bright enough to light your path. Go now, take your wife and get out of here."
What the hell?
I didn't dare question her with the way she said it. There was a strong tone of authority in her words that made me not want to defy her.
We're not gonna talk about that
I
eye
could
color
have
switch?
sworn that her eyes glowed blue in the dim light as she
Oh, okay, I was
spoke
gonna
too.
say.
I went back to the guest room and woke up my sleeping wife. I told her that Hannah just asked us to leave, and we had to go now. She gave me an earful for getting us kicked out, but stopped when we returned to the living room. Hannah was nowhere in sight.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Bro, I got the chills! Bro, I got the chills, they're
And
killed!
instead of the cozy cottage we'd arrived in, we were instead greeted with a derelict ruin covered in dusty cobwebs.
Ooh!
Lying on the corner of the lifeless living room was the corpse of a man with strips of his flesh torn out of it, the cracked bones beneath them. His cheeks had been completely removed, revealing
His
only
cheeks? Which
toothless
ones?
gums. When
Butt
we looked
cheeks?
at the low dining table we'd been eating from just hours ago, we realized where all that meat and teeth went. In the bowls that Hannah had served us were white teeth and bone shards, topped by
What?
strips of flesh that still had human-like skin on one side. And in those clay teacups was a foul black-red liquid that gave off a pungent metallic odor that could only come from days-old blood.
What the
We left the cottage, which had become a desolated ruin in Hannah's absence. With no idea of where to go, I led us down the river as per Hannah's instructions, and true to her word, we arrived in a small town where we met some very surprised people.
How did they both
They
see the
told us
same thing?
that the abandoned cottage up the river was cursed, and that no one who'd gone there had ever come out before. They told us how lucky we were to still be alive and contacted the authorities to get us back to our hotel in Tokyo.
Wow.
We cut our honeymoon short after that night. My wife is still recovering from the trauma of what she saw in Hannah's
I
cottage,
bet.
but I'll be with her all the way. Hannah would probably approve too. Had I not been faithful to my wife, I doubt she would have let me leave her cottage alive.
Whoa. That was great. So they both saw the same thing because they saw the fox and looked into its eyes, which led them to a house that was cursed? So they both hallucinated and saw the same exact thing? That's crazy. I thought they were gonna see her holding a knife or some shit and it was ready to attack them. But they saw like a broken down house and they were literally eating some dude's butt cheeks. Wow, I think I know what we're all thinking with that one. Yeah? We gonna say it together? On 3? You promise? You gotta say it with me, alright? Because that shit was kind of crazy. 1, 2, 3. What a twist! Alright, everybody, but that's gonna do it for this episode of reacting to these scary animations. Hopefully you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you give it one big fat like. And tell a friend today that Jay from the Kubz Scouts. My voice is gone. Is that dude?